Hey guys, welcome back to a new video, and in this video we are going to see how we can create our user interface with the help of Composable that is well adaptive by the devices that we have in the market like smartphones, foldable devices, tablets, Chromebooks, etc. So in order to write a user interface which is well adaptive, so for that Android provide recently few APIs that we are gonna use, and it will take little code, and also from developer side it takes a very little effort to create a user interface which is well adaptive by all the devices which is currently present in the market. So let's see how we can write our user interface with the help of these APIs, and also we are going to learn a lot of things. We are going to see what is a navigation suite scaffold, what is list detail pane scaffold, and what is supporting pane scaffold. So we're gonna deep dive into these scaffolds and try to find out how we can create our UI which is acceptable by all the devices which is present currently in the market. So let's get started. So first thing first, go to the description box, find out my GitHub repository link, download that project and open it in your Android Studio. You will see a project which is looking like this. So within this project you're gonna see a list detail package, and within this list detail util file you are going to see a place data class, and below to it we have places list. Supporting pane package contains supporting pane utils, and within this we have a travel image data class. Below to it we have travel images. In drawable you will see few of the images. In string resources you will notice few of the string resources, but most importantly here in your build.gradle.kts you are going to see the adaptive APIs. Okay, this is for the navigation, this is for the layout, and this is the general adaptive API, or you can say dependency. Alright, so let's close everything and we will proceed in our video. So first we will see how to create a navigation bar which is well optimized across all of the devices like smartphones, tablets, foldable, and Chromebooks, of course. So in order to do that, I'm gonna create app-dest naming enum class, and within its constructor I'm gonna pass a res id which is a type of int, and second its image vector. And here I am having a home r.string.home. In place of image vector I'm gonna use icon default home, and like this we have favorite r.string.favorites, and image vector is again coming from icons.default.favorite. Now within this navigation package I'm gonna create a file and call it navigation content, and composable name would be navigation content. Okay, and within this I'm gonna use navigation suite scaffold. So this is actually a navigation bar which is optimized for all of the devices, or you can say for all of the screens. So within this navigation suite item I'm gonna use my add destination entries and iterate it, and within this I'm gonna create an item. So this will ultimately create a navigation item that we see on the navigation bar, or sometimes on the navigation rail. So first parameter would be selected. So I'm gonna create a selected variable here which is remember saveable mutable state of, and initially I want to show home screen, so that's why I'm using here home name. Let me import this remember saveable first. Selected value is equivalent to it dot name. Second is the icon. So for the icon I'm gonna use icon composable, and I'm using my app destination image vector, and for the content description I pass null. Then we have a label. So label contain a text, and I'm gonna use string resources. ID is coming from our app destination, and on click. When user click any of the navigation item I'm gonna update my selected value with its name. Okay, now based on our current selection I'm gonna show the screen. So first we have home name. So for the home name I'm gonna create a composable which is very simple. So modifier fill max size, we have here content alignment which is present in the center, contain a text which is coming from string resources app test dot home dot res id. Similarly, we have app destination favorite dot name, and UI is pretty much same, so I'm gonna simply copy it and paste it over here and change this home with favorite. That's it. Now I'm gonna copy this navigation content, go in my main activity, and here first I'm gonna use surface in order to use the safe area modifier save content padding and simply paste my navigation content. Let me import this. Okay, now I'm going to execute this application in smartphone, is in foldable devices, in tablets. Alright, so my app is executed in smartphones. So you can see our navigation thing is actually representing in a form of navigation bar, bottom navigation bar. When you click favorite, you will see favorite. When you click home, you will see home. Now what will happen if I execute this thing in fold devices? So here you can see now fold device is open, so it ultimately become a tablet and it has a big screen. So due to this reason, it is optimized in such a way that it is converted into a navigation rail. It becomes a navigation rail, to be more specific. Now same thing is happen in tablets because tablet size are very big. So due to this reason, you can see navigation thing is converted into a navigation rail. So for the smartphone it is a navigation bar, and for the other two devices it is navigation rail. Now what will happen if I fold my foldable device? It behave like a smartphone. All right, so this navigation suite scaffold is used to optimize our bottom navigation bar to all of the devices. So now I want my navigation rail becomes navigation drawer for the tablets only. How can we do that? Well, to do that, go to your navigation content. So this kind of thing is only possible when you are having the information about the screen size, because we are more specific. We want a navigation drawer in big devices. So we have to get the information about the screen size, then only we can write a logic that is dependent on the screen size. So to do that, I'm going to create a window adaptive info. Okay, so this is a class that gives us the information about the screen sizes. So current window adaptive info is a function that will provide you a new instance of this particular class, and I'm going to use it. So window adaptive info, window size classes, and here we have window width size classes, window height size classes. So I'm going to use window width size classes. So we have three types of window with size classes: expanded, compact, medium. Expanded means big screen, Chromebooks, tablets, medium size tablets, or you can say any other devices which is fall in the medium range. And compact is of course representing our smartphone. So for the expanded, I want my navigation suite type to become a navigation drawer. Okay, and for the other cases, I mean for the window size medium, I'm gonna use a navigation rail, and for the compact one I'm gonna use a navigation bar, and all the other cases, I mean for the else cases, I'm gonna simply copy it and paste it over here. I want navigation bar, so for the else, and here I'm gonna create a variable naming layout type. That's it. Now you can use this layout type here in NavigationSuiteScaffold. So let's use it. So layout type, pass your layout type and execute this application in all of the devices. Alright, so our app is executed in all the devices. So for the smartphone, nothing changed because smartphone falls in the compact range, and for the compact window size classes we are using navigation bar. Okay, now what will happen for the fold devices? So let's see. So fold, so when you are using in a compact mode, I mean in the closed mode, it ultimately behave as a smartphone, so it falls in a range of compact. What will happen if I open it? Then it become a tablet. So when it become a tablet, it falls in the expanded region, and due to this reason we are using here navigation drawer, and it become a navigation drawer. So similarly we are having the same behavior in tablets. So for the tablet, here you can see. Alright, so yeah, using this approach you can change the layout type of your navigation drawer. So we are done with navigation bar. We saw how to use NavigationSuiteScaffold and create our navigation bar, which is well optimized across all the devices. Now it's time to see how to use list detail pane scaffold. Now this is actually used to design UI in which your first screen is used to show the list item and second screen is used to show the complete detail of that particular list item. So let's see how we can use it. So to do that, first go to your list detail package, and here I'm gonna create a file naming list details. And within this I'm gonna create a composable naming list detail scaffold. And within this I'm gonna use my list detail pane scaffold, and the requirement of this thing is directive value list pane and detail pane. So list pane is actually representing your list screen. Here we don't call screen as screen, so we refer as pane. So that is why you see over here we are not having list screen, we are having list pane. So yeah, now screen becomes pane, not actual pane but pane pane. So first we are gonna create a navigator, and this navigator is created with the help of a remember list detail pane scaffold navigator. So this is an experimental API, so we have to annotate this composable with experimental material 3 adaptive API. And within our directive we are going to use our navigator scaffold directive, and in place of value we are going to pass our navigator scaffold value. So list pane is representing our list screen, and detail pane is used to show our detail screen. Okay, so here within this lambda we are gonna pass our composable. So let's build our list screen first. So composable list screen, and within this I'm gonna use scaffold, and this is scaffold having top bar. Title would be text that says my list, and within this lambda I'm gonna use a lazy column, and within this lazy column I'm gonna use modifier. Padding is coming from this lambda, so I'm gonna use that, and also I have to annotate this composable with experimental material 3 API. Now within this we have items, and in items I'm gonna pass my place list. Let me import this items, and within this I'm gonna create a text, and this text shows the name, and style is coming from our material theme. Typography body large would be good. Okay, what will happen if user click our list item? So for that I'm gonna use modifier, give padding of 12 dp. Let me import this dp, and lastly clickable. So when user click on this item, so I'm gonna pass a function from here, and the parameter of this function would be place, and I'm gonna use this on click here and pass my place. That's it, we are done with our list screen. So I'm gonna pass my list screen here in the list pane. So I'm gonna use navigator. So when user click item, I wanna navigate from list screen to detail screen, of course. So navigator, navigate to list detail pane scaffold role. So here you see details list extra, so I'm gonna navigate from this list screen to detail screen. And second thing is our argument. So in order to pass argument, I'm gonna pass this place. So if you want to pass this place as an argument, then here you have to mention it. That's it. Now in our detail pane I'm gonna use a navigator, its current destination, take out the content from this particular current destination, and here you can see we are receiving our place. In order to show the complete detail of this particular place, I'm gonna create a list detail screen. So composable, and I'm gonna call this detail screen. Okay, and the input parameter would be our place, that is received from list screen. So here I'm gonna create a scaffold, and within this scaffold we have a column, modifier fill max size, and also I want this column to be scrollable, so I'm gonna use vertical scroll, remember scroll state, and also padding which comes from this padding values. Annotate this thing with experimental material 3 API, and yeah, done. So now I'm using async image. So this is actually used to load my images from URL. So this is coming from my coil library. So every dependency is already present in your build.gradle.kts once you get the initial project from my GitHub repository, so don't worry about anything. So I'm gonna pass my place image and content description would be null. I'm gonna use modifier, fill max width and height would be, let's say, 300 dp, and after that little bit of space, modifier height 24 dp is a space, and lastly we have text. So I'm gonna use place description, modifier fill max width, and I want padding, and the padding would be horizontal, let us suppose 12 dp. Yeah, we are pretty much done with our detail screen. So I'm gonna use my detail screen here and pass my place. That's it. Now I'm going to use this list detail scaffold in my navigation content, and in place of home I'm gonna use it. Let me import this. And one more thing, I forgot to put this complete logic within a pair of parentheses, so this is present within our navigation suite scaffold, so sorry for that. Now I'm going to execute my app. So first I will execute in pixel fold. So here you can see our app is executed properly. When I click Sigria, you can see this Sigria image and its description. Now what will happen if I press back? It suddenly stops the application or kills the application. This is a not a good approach, because we came from list screen to detail screen, so logically we go back to the list screen. So for that, what we are going to do in our list detail, so here we have a navigator, so I'm gonna use back handler, and within this back handler we have to pass navigator can navigate back. So this will return a boolean, and if it is true, then on that scenario we can use navigator navigate back. And now when I execute my app, you will notice the behavior will be changed. So here when I click Sigria, you will see this detail screen, and when I go back, so now this is a perfect behavior. Alright, so what will happen if I open it? Yeah, you can see this is a navigation drawer. When I click Sigria, you will see this is our detail pane. Okay, so it's very small. This is because we are using navigation drawer due to this reason. Now when I execute this application in my smartphone, here you can see when I click Sigria, yes, this is my image, and the description, when I click back, perfectly fine. Now what will happen if I rotate my device? Yes, now it becomes navigation drawer. Okay, so when I click on Sigria, you can see this is a Sigria image and all of the details. Cool. So now I'm going to execute this thing in tablet. We are going to see a navigation drawer. Yes, it is. And when I click on Sigria, you can see the details. And when I rotate my device, so you can see now this time we are only able to see the detail screen. This is because this is the last screen on which we navigate, so that is why. So when I click back, we go to the list screen. Okay, so this is a complete optimized way of using list detail pane scaffold. We are going to see few of the things which is very important in the list detail pane scaffold. So the thing is scaffold directive. So ultimately this contain all of the information about the width size of your panes. So suppose I'm gonna use a copy, and here you can see max horizontal partition. So how many partition you want. Second thing is horizontal partition spacer size. So we have this spacer size, and if we are going to change this, so horizontal partition spacer size, let us suppose 20 dp. Now when I execute my app in tablets, so you will notice few differences in landscape mode. Okay, so when I click Sigria, yeah, you are not able to see properly here, but the thing is when you pass this horizontal partition spacer size, so the space between this pane and this pane is here, so this become 12 dp. So this is a use case of horizontal partition spacer size. Now we have a lot of things over here. Vertical partition spacer size and default pane prefer width. So I'm gonna use this default pane prefer width, let us suppose 100 dp, and when I execute it, okay, when I click over here Sigria, you will notice this default thing will become 100 dp, I mean the width become 100 dp, and detail screen size will be more big. So yeah, you can play with it. The thing is, this scaffold directive contain all of the information like how you want to show your user interface. So yeah, this is all for the list detail pane scaffold. So we have done with list detail pane scaffold. Now it's time to see supporting pane scaffold. So for that, I'm gonna create a file, and the file name would be supporting pane scaffold, and I'm gonna create a composable calling main supporting scaffold, and within this I'm going to create supporting pane scaffold. Okay, the requirement is so this supporting pane scaffold is pretty much same as a list detail pane scaffold. The main difference here is it is not particularly designed for creating user interface in which you have a list and details things. So it's not like that, it's up to you where you want to use supporting pane scaffold. So here I'm gonna create a navigator just like we did for list detail pane scaffold. So we have remember supporting pane scaffold navigator over here. Of course, this is experimental API, so we have to annotate our composable with experimental material 3 adaptive API. And in directive, I'm gonna use my navigator scaffold directive, and in place of value, we are gonna use a navigator.scaffold value. All right. So we are having here main pane and supporting pane, and in this case, we're gonna use extra pane too. So typically we have 3 screens, so I'm gonna create my screen one by one. So for the first screen I'm gonna call it main pane, and within this I'm going to create basically a lazy staggered vertical grid. But first I'm gonna use scaffold. So and within this scaffold I'm gonna create a top bar, and in place of title I'm gonna pass my trips images. Cool. This is also an experimental API, so we have to annotate our composable with this. Alright, and within this I'm gonna use lazy vertical stacker grid. Okay, in place of column I'm gonna use staggered grid cells fixed, and it is 3. Okay, and this error is coming because of this padding, so we're gonna use this padding to in our modifier. So modifier padding, pass this padding values. Cool. Now it's time to design our list item. So it's very easy. What I'm going to do here, first I'm gonna use the items and pass my items. So it is coming from travel images, which I have already shown you. And within this we are gonna create our items. So for items I'm gonna use a simple image painter resource, pass my it dot resource. So it basically represent the images which is present in my drawable, image 1, image 2, image 3, image 4, kind of this. Okay, I'm gonna call it a null, and I'm gonna use modifier and provide some padding. So padding, let us suppose horizontally I want 2 dp, let me import this dp, and vertically I want 1 dp. Yeah, we are pretty much done with our main pane. Now it is time to create our supporting pane, but first we are going to navigate from main pane to supporting pane. So in order to do that, I'm gonna use clickable event in our images. So clickable, and here I'm gonna pass on click event, which ultimately pass our travel image. So travel image. Alright, so when user click onto this, I'm gonna pass it. That's it. So we are pretty much done with our main pane. Next we are gonna create a composable which is for the supporting pane, and within this I'm gonna create a box having modifier fill max size, content alignment should be on the center, and within this I'm gonna use image painter resource and pass my travel image. So travel image is coming from, I'm gonna use my travel image resource ID, and in place of content description I pass null, and I'm gonna use modifier fill max size. That's it. Now when user click onto this image, it will ultimately going to show all of this detail in our extra pane. So here we are having extra pane. So this time I'm gonna taking the leverage of this extra pane. So in order to do that, I'm gonna create a composable and call it extra pane. And within this I'm gonna use scaffold, and scaffold contain the top up bar. So we are having text and it says Sri Lanka trip. Cool. Now within this scaffold I'm gonna create a column. Okay, so this column is actually using our fill max size, and just before this I'm gonna use padding and pass this padding values. Cool. And also I want a vertical scroll behavior from this column, so I'm gonna pass remember scroll state. And yeah, we are pretty much done. Now I'm gonna use image, pass my painter resource. So this painter resource requirement is resource id. So in order to take that image resource id, we're gonna pass the travel image object. So travel image resource, and in content description I'm gonna pass null. In place of modifier I'm gonna take my complete width, and when it's come to height I'm gonna take 300 dp. Okay, and just below to it I'm gonna use spacer height would be 12 dp, and just below to it I'm gonna having a text which ultimately shows my travel image title, and style is used from a material theme typography, body large. Okay, and similarly just below to it we are having spacer, modifier height would be 12 dp, and lastly we have description. So travel image dot description, and style would be material theme typography body media. Yeah, and one more thing, I want padding. So modifier padding horizontal 12 dp. So just simply copy this and paste in the other text, I mean the title text. Yeah, we are pretty much done with our extra pane. So in supporting pane I do believe I'm gonna use scaffold instead of box. So scaffold, and I'm just cutting this thing from here and paste it over here in the box, and box will now having padding which comes from this scaffold padding. And here we are having floating action button, and I'm gonna use a floating action button, and in place of its UI I'm gonna use an icon, so which ultimately comes from icon default dot info. Content description would be null, and when user click onto this, what we are going to do, we simply pass this click event to our parent composable. Yeah, and here we pass the travel image. So travel image. Yeah, so now it's time to use all of this composable here in the supporting pane scaffold. So in place of main pane we're gonna use main pane. When user click onto the list item or the image, we are going to perform navigation. So navigator navigate to, here we are having 3 pane scaffold role. So we have primary, we have secondary, we have tertiary. So primary represent the main pane, secondary represent the supporting pane, and tertiary will represent extra pane. So we are going to use secondary and pass our travel image. So in order to use travel image we have to tell it. Cool. Yeah, so ultimately when user click onto the image it will go towards supporting pane, and in place of supporting pane we're gonna pass our supporting pane, and also we have to pass the travel image. So travel image we're gonna get from navigator current destination its content. So its content is actually our travel image. So just cut this thing, paste it over here, and pass your travel image here. Okay, so if user clicks onto the floating action button, it will ultimately go into extra pane, and where he can saw everything. I mean the each details, image, title and description, everything. So navigator, navigate to, we are having 3 pane scaffold role. This time would be tertiary and pass your travel image. Okay, and lastly we are having extra pane. So navigator current destination content, and here we are having extra pane, and simply pass your travel image. That's it. We are done with our supporting pane scaffold. So you noticed here there are no restriction with supporting pane scaffold. It's totally up to you how you gonna use it. Okay, so simply copy it, go to your navigation content, and here in place of app destination favorite name, I'm gonna use it, and remove this thing. Let me import this. All right, so now I'm going to execute this thing first in my smartphone. All right, so when I click into the favorite, you can see these are the images, and when you click any of the image, you will notice the complete image and a floating action button. So when you click on this floating action button, you are going to see complete detail of that particular travel image, of course. And when you click back, okay, so back handler is not present in our supporting pane scaffold, so we have to manage that thing too. So back handler, it's very easy, just like we did in ListDetailPaneScaffold case. Navigator can navigate back, and navigator navigate back. That's it. And run it again. Yeah, favorite. Here you can see this is our supporting pane, and when you click this floating action button, you are going to see the complete details. Okay, when you click back, now you are following a right approach, of course. All right, so that's it for the supporting pane scaffold. Now it's time to execute this in foldable devices. All right, so executed successfully. Favorite, here you can see the images. When you click any of them, you will see the supporting pane, and when you click this floating action button, you are going to see its details. Okay, so what will happen if I rotate it? Or first let me close this thing first. Okay, so this is our third screen, or you can say extra pane. When you click back, you will go to the secondary screen, and lastly on the primary. Yeah, it works now in scaffold, in landscape mode, of course. So yeah, it's pretty much same. When you click any of them, you will go to the extra pane. Sorry, not extra pane, it's supporting pane. And when you click on floating action button, you will see the extra pane. So yeah, and now I'm going to open this up. Yeah, so this is working in portrait mode, and when we are running this thing in tablets, let's see what is the behavior. It's pretty much same. Favorite, here you can see, and when you click any of the image, you are going to see the image properly, and when you click on this floating action button, you are going to see the complete details. That's it. So it's very easy to use supporting pane scaffold, list detail pane scaffold, and navigate suite scaffold. So by using this, you can create. So we are done with our video. So we saw 3 things. We have a navigation suite scaffold, list detail pane scaffold, and supporting pane scaffold. All these 3 is actually well optimized to use to adapt the nature and behavior of the foldable devices, Chromebooks and smartphones. So it's very easy to use, and it is very convenient. Otherwise, if you want to write your own logic, it will take a lot of effort from developer side, and also it is not that much stable and robust.